We're going to start in the UFL. Um, 3 teams are leaving, and 3 teams are coming in. They announced the other day, I think it was just yesterday, they announced the Michigan Panthers, the Memphis Showboats, which Royce followed, and the San Antonio Brahmas, which isn't that Dwayne Johnson's team, the Brahmas?
Well, he's not. If he doesn't own the league anymore, the last thing they need.
So those 3 teams are out. I think the stadiums that they were playing in were too expensive, and they were trying to find smaller stadiums for them to move to, and couldn't do it. So those 3 teams are out for next year, and 3 new teams are in. The new teams are the Columbus Aviators, the Louisville Kings, and the Orlando Storm. So one day they announced 3 teams are going. The very next day, with not much fanfare. You sent me this graphic earlier today, and I had not even heard this. And all of a sudden, here's 3 new teams I never even heard about. And so, yeah, they're going to be back at 8 teams again for next year. So, what are you thinking about all this UFL change?
Well, there's a lot more change than what you just listed off, too. The Houston Roughnecks are now rebranding and becoming the Houston Gamblers. They did not go with the classic Houston Gamblers look. They kind of modernized it like they did with the Stallions and the Panthers, which, I mean, I can argue either way for that. It's what it is. And it looks like the Arlington Renegades have now gone back to being the Dallas Renegades, which I'm fine with. I like the Renegades logo, but it's just, I don't know. I tweeted out when this all went down, and this graphic specifically, I called it a downgrade for a few reasons, but I want to get to the good stuff first. And then maybe you can give some of your positives and what you don't like about all this and go from there. So positives. I'm cool with the UFL kind of revamping things a little bit. That's all well and good. That's fine. I like the new logo for the league. A little sleeker. It's just a football, but I don't know. I kind of like that more than what they had. I don't know.
Right.
But it still lacks the personality. What I also like is this attempt to get their teams in more reasonable stadiums. I'm 100% behind that. I am A-okay with that, and that being their goal and their mission to put teams in better situations like that, because I get it. You're not funded by the NFL. So you got to kind of be a lot more conscientious of where your money's going, and having to pay an arm and a leg like our Panthers had to just to play a single game at Ford Field in Detroit isn't feasible and not viable for a long-term thing.
Yeah.
Another positive, I like that they kind of ditched the USFL, XFL divisions. Those are gone. I wasn't always crazy about it, but I don't know. It wasn't necessary. For an 8-team league, you do not need conferences or divisions. I'll say that across any level of professional football or any football. If you have 8 teams, you don't need divisions or conferences. Throw that out the window. I like the overall approach, but here's what I don't like. I don't like that on Friday you're telling a bunch of us, "Hey, we're done with your city. We're done with your team." And I feel like the ex-boyfriend who had his girlfriend break up with him just to find out 2 days later, "Oh, hey, look at my 3 hot new sexy teams we're bringing into the league next year." Like, what? Like, bro, like let me get over what just happened before you start throwing all that new stuff in my face. I'm not 100% sold on some of the markets they're putting these teams in. That's just me. Orlando specifically has not been a place that fans have shown up for across a few of the iterations of spring football, in my opinion. I'm sure people could throw me some numbers and correct me, but from what I remember, the Orlando Apollos, I don't think they had a big turnout. Although they had a good team in the AAF. I don't think they had a great turnout. The Orlando Guardians of the XFL also never seemed like they had a great turnout. I don't think people care about spring football in Orlando, yet they're making a point to go back there. That's where they held this whole press conference thing today. The Columbus Aviators, great name, terrible logo. Not a fan of it. The Louisville Kings, terrible name, terrible logo, terrible color scheme. They just ripped off the Orlando Guardians. I get it. I get with the races and all that in Louisville. I get what they're going for, but you already got a team in your league. that's got a horse head. You only have 8 teams, and now a fourth of them are going to be horse heads. If I'm going to complain about cowboy hats in my indoor arena football, I'm going to complain about horses in my United Football League. I'm just going to go there. The Orlando Storm ripping off the Tampa Bay Storm logo a little bit, or a couple variations of the Tampa Bay Storm logo. Not a fan of that. And the Gamblers not going with their classic look. And I see the chat building up. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to throw some of your comments on the screen in a second after Randy gets his thoughts in. But overall, I'm probably not going to root for a team. I'm not going to invest in a team in this UFL. I will watch with interest and hope that this league can grow and move on. And I will hope that in a couple years, when Detroit's football team, the soccer team, or the football club gets their nice little new stadium that they're building in Detroit, that will invite them to come back to Michigan for, in the UFL in the future, if this league exists.
Yeah.
I have a bad feeling, and I don't want to feel like this. I feel like this is it for this league. If this new relaunch, 2.0, whatever, restart doesn't work, it's done. Kaput. Put it out of its misery. I will be over outdoor spring football that isn't connected to the NFL. At that point, the NFL needs to just step in and do their own thing and come up with a new spring league, because these repeated attempts are getting old, and I'm tired of them reviving brands just for them to die again. I don't know if I can do it again. Take the floor, please.
Well, I agree with 95% of everything you just said. I like the fact that they're putting a team in Columbus, Ohio. That's kind of close to us, and I just was in Columbus recently, so I know how
not as close as
long
Michigan.
I know, but I would not be opposed to going to Columbus to check out a game sometime. And I also like that they got a team in Louisville, Kentucky. We go right by Louisville all the time on our way to the Buc-ee's down in Smith's Grove by Bowling Green. So I could possibly see myself taking in a game in Louisville also. It seems like the only thing that really didn't change too much was the Battlehawks, the DC Defenders, and the Birmingham Stallions. Other than that, everybody else has made some kind of change, whether it be name, logo, location, whatever. I don't know. But you know me, I hate change, but I do think that you're right. I do think that if this set of teams does not work out, does not draw a lot of fans, we could see the beginning of the end of the UFL, unless the NFL decides to step in and say, all right, you're now our minor league, and we're going to throw big bucks at you to keep around. But now we want you to move to NFL cities and play in NFL cities, whatever. I don't know. But yeah, this came out of nowhere. When you sent me this graphic today, I was totally shocked. I mean, I wasn't over losing, Memphis, Michigan, and what was the other team?
The Brahmas.
San Antonio. So I wasn't over that, and I'm still in mourning for my Michigan Panthers. And as you can see, I'm wearing the throwback to the 1983-84 seasons. This was their logo back then. You're wearing the updated stuff that has been around the last couple of years. I loved it when they brought the USFL back, because they had all the Houston Gamblers, the Pittsburgh Maulers, and the Philadelphia Stars, and all those teams that I remember watching back in the 80s. I loved going to those games. I loved going to Ford Field to see these games. So I'm going to be a little depressed that I don't have a team 2 hours away that I can go to, because it was so much fun going to Ford Field when the crowd was half or even smaller than that of what you would get at a Lions game. Ticket prices were better, parking was easier. It was just a great time to go to that stadium, which we love the stadium and we love being there, and it was just so much fun to be there for a Michigan Panthers game. Had it not been for the Michigan Panthers and this UFL, the Lions wouldn't have their kicker right now, Jake Bates. And so, that's another asterisk that years from now people are going, Jake Bates came from what team? I've never heard of that league or that team. So it's a little sad. So that's why I'm wearing this today. I've always liked the throwback logo better than the current one that they tried to update. There was nothing wrong with the old one. It didn't need to change anything on that. So, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm going to give him a shot. I'll watch him a little bit, but I don't know if my heart's really in it anymore without the Michigan Panthers being there.
Yeah, it does suck for us. And I do want to reiterate, I am not wanting this league to fail. Quite the opposite.
No,
I would
no,
like it to succeed. I think their plan of putting these teams in more manageable stadiums
yes,
is a great plan, and I agree
yes,
with it. I wish they would have just found a better venue for the Panthers, like Eastern Michigan. How did
yeah,
that fall through? Like, why did
no,
something like that not happen? Like, that's what I don't get. Like, clearly somebody didn't want to try. And I don't know this Mike Rapole, the new owner of the UFL, very well. I don't know his history, but it just seems like he didn't care to try. Like, it just seemed like everything was kind of fake. Like, oh, try to save the Stallions. They were probably going to keep the Stallions anyway. Oh, try to save the Panthers. Put in your season ticket, blah, blah, blah. And look where that got us. Nowhere. So I don't know. I think they had this plan in place for a while. I don't think they just came up with these new teams over a weekend when we hear about them getting shut down on Friday just to come
yeah.
in on Tuesday and have this whole brand new league outlook. This has been in the works for a while, and I hate that I got strung along. I feel like if you were gonna axe them a month or two ago when you came up with this plan or when you bought him, he teased us and dragged a lot of our fan bases around. I don't like that, but I will give the league a shot. I can't invest in a team right now. I will go to a game like you. Louisville and Columbus will probably be trips we do next year, depending on some stuff that happens. But
Yeah.
we'll have to wait and see. And we like St. Louis. We've been to St. Louis for some games or for a game, and we had a lot of fun there. All right, before we move on, Dad, I know we spent a lot of time here in the UFL talk. The chat, people have thoughts. Let's get to some of them. Let's see, starting with Viking Wax Press, our buddy Royce, stoked to have the Gamblers back and new stadiums for Houston and Dallas. So good moves there. He also says, so far, the new part owner, Mike Rapole, is shaking things up with a long-term vision of family-friendly venues and fillable stadiums. So we will learn this season if it actually works. It's going to be an interesting offseason or season to see how that all actually plays out for them.
I do think that there is a place for spring football. They just
There
haven't
is.
quite gotten it right yet.
That's true. If they would have gotten it right, it would have stuck around. Or if somebody wouldn't have interfered with the USFL back in the 80s, I bet you they'd have still been around today.
Yeah.
Or the NFL would have absorbed a few of those teams, and we'd have a whole different league.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Rookie X4 in the chat. I feel like Mike Rapole is actually trying to keep this league alive. I'm not bashing Danny Garcia, but I am bashing The Rock and Fox, not actually putting their work in the league. And that's the other point. The local marketing and the national marketing for your league has got to improve vastly. If they can show that, then this league will be trending in the right direction. But from the local level on, you have to market these teams better. I can't tell you how many people, when I walk around, they're like, what's that? Like in Michigan, we had the Michigan Panthers, but not everybody knew who the Panthers were. Nobody knew. Oh, there's football on Fox in June or whatever they were playing. What, April? Like, I didn't know this. Like, they have to do better. If leagues like this want to survive, you have to do better at marketing locally and building up that fan base. And they never did quite a good job, despite Michigan's attendance going up the last couple of years. Yeah. You hate to see it. Viking Wax Press again. I thought the Storm logo was a little Frankfurt Galaxy-esque. I can see it now that he says that. Also, good point, Rookie. This is one I didn't forget to bring up. All 8 teams, they will all be getting new uniforms. So aesthetically, these teams are going to look a little different too. So kind of like a restart for the league.
Yeah, well, you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig, even though you got new uniforms.
That's a good one. Dale, I don't follow any spring leagues anymore. I used to. There was a team called the Arizona Hot Shots from the AAF. I remember them that I liked, and they didn't even finish the season. Oh, yeah, none of those teams finished that season. Dale, what happened? You looking up at your ceiling? What happened?
I have the Arizona Hot Shots. No, is that? Yeah, I think that's the Hot Shots helmet in the AAF.
I was gonna say, yeah, you have a bunch of the AAF helmets. I remember us getting those for you.
I don't have them all, but I do have Arizona. Yes.
Yep. Let's see. We're gonna fly through some of these guys. Rookie, I just going to say, back when the league merged, they should have kept the Gamblers brand because there was no reason to rebrand to the Roughnecks. The rebrand back to the Gamblers. I agree. They should have stuck with that. 100% agree with Rookie on the Gamblers, says Viking Wax Press. Viking, I am sad for the Panthers fans. Such a storied franchise that should have stayed. You're telling us, bud. In order for the Panthers to come back, you got to support the league, says Rookie in the chat. And look, I understand fans are upset losing their teams, but I put the blame on Danny the Rock Fox for not doing their job. It's a fair point. And I'm trying not to sound like a bitter Panthers fan also, like, take my ball, go home kind of thing. But it sucks. And it hurts that my team is lost and we got all this other stuff happening. And it just makes it tougher for me to want to invest in this league when that's why I was saying, like, it's just too fresh. The wound is too fresh for me to want to get invested in something. Maybe I'll see some uniforms and be like, wow, those Aviators uniforms look pretty sweet. Maybe I'll have to go with them. Or maybe they do something cool with the Gamblers. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. A couple more, Dad, and we'll move on.
This is the second time that I've had to watch the Michigan Panthers go away. In 1984, they left and they merged with the Oakland Invaders, and I was absolutely devastated when they left at the time. I loved the Michigan Panthers for those 2 seasons that they were here, and now I was really getting into the new Panthers, even with the redesigned logo that I didn't care for. I hung on to this. It's just it's devastating again. So now 2 times in my life I've had to say goodbye to the Michigan Panthers, and it sucks. It really, really sucks.
Royce asks us, I need a UFL team to cover next season. Who should I cover? It's a good question, Royce. I think go Gamblers if you can as your choice number 1. And then you can fly out to a game in Columbus or Louisville if they come out here. That'd be fun. Hang out with you.
Yeah, you come out here, we'll meet you for a game in Louisville or Columbus or wherever.
Yep. And then Rookie says we gave them a pass in 2024 because of how long the merge took. But in 2025, we all know what happened. Same result in 2024, except for Michigan, where they did their part. They did. Michigan's attendance was going up, and they still got the axe. And finally, Royce, before we move on, being a UFL fan, I have grown to despise The Rock. How much of that's on The Rock? I don't know. We could play the blame game all day. I don't know how much is actually on him. There's a lot of moving parts.
He's too busy making a new movie every week, so he didn't have time to devote to that league.
Yeah. Well, all right, Dad. Let's call that it for the UFL talk. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments below. What are your thoughts on the UFL and this new 2.0, as I think some are calling it? Be very curious.